Hey guys, it's Mike and Ricky, and today on the podcast, we're going to talk about
Tonight at 11.
Doom! Michael, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing really fine. Doing good. How about you? Doing
I'm
good?
doing well. Doing well. It's been a while. It's
been a couple of equinox and and a full moon, blood moon, and a aqua moon, and a whatever celestial things have happened the past year. But yes, we are back.
Showers.
Yes, a couple of meteor showers, a couple of the end of the world. So we're still here. So we're doing pretty good. We're on task. I'm feeling pretty good about our odds so far. So
we're have to see. We're a little out of practice, so we're a little
out of practice
how this podcast goes. But
yes, we'll do that. So, do we? I forget what we do next. Usually in this podcast, but
usually you have a dumb bit.
Well, now wait a minute. Now you set me up for having to give a dumb bit, and I was going to tell you a story, but that's fine. Now it's a dumb bit. Nothing good's going to come out of it. But I'll tell you about my story anyhow. What happened to me? If you don't mind listening, I'm out here.
Story.
Yeah. Well,
so what have you been up to?
Well, I've been walking a lot, been going outside a lot, getting some exercise, trying to be a little more fit out here on the acres, and saw my neighbor. He's kind of a farmer, and I watched him, and I saw him dragging something on the ground, and I thought to myself, what the heck is he dragging on the ground? He's a farmer out in the land, right? Yeah. And I'm looking at it, and I said, and he's hurting at the same time. It's like it's a lot of weight, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on with him. He's dragging a clam on a leash.
A clam?
Yeah, a clam. Leash? Yeah. So I thought, okay, that's like a clam in the ocean, and he's dragging on a leash across the ground, and he's like, it's like he's using all his energy, and he's walking kind of funny. And I said, okay, put aside he's pulling a clam on a leash. I asked him, "Hey, dude, are you okay?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm okay. I must be pulling a muscle." And I said, so he said,
It's the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Pope. Man, hate when I pulled a muscle.
Pulled a muscle. Oh my gosh.
Pulled a muscle. Well, folks, if you are joining in and you wonder, wait a minute, is this actually a new episode? Well, yes, it is a new episode. And it's a new episode because we know it's a new episode, which means that we're telling you it's a new episode. So, yeah. So a lot has happened. It's a lot of big movies, a lot of things that happened this past year. MCU, now we had the Deadpool and Wolverine came out, been out about 6 weeks now, which is exciting. I don't know if I had an opportunity to see it. I loved it. It's, definitely, I need to go see it again because it's so much is happening in it, and some of it may help us talk about a few things tonight. I don't know.
Okay.
We are going to talk about our man Iron Man becoming Dr. Doom, which is interesting, and of course that where we mean
such a weird deal,
but we'll talk about that a little later. But what we usually like to do in this segment, we like to do a little something we like to call some nerdy news.
It's time for the nerdy happenings of the week.
Can you believe I remembered that? I remembered doing that.
You remembered. Well, you mentioned Deadpool, so we're going to start there with Deadpool.
I like Deadpool.
Now, Deadpool has done amazing at the box office. And I think this is week 6 or is it week 4?
Well, okay.
somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks. I'm not sure which,
Yeah.
but it has already grossed worldwide $1.2 billion.
That's insane.
The highest earning rated R movie ever.
That's insane.
And yeah, and Marvel's been struggling a little bit.
Just a little, yeah.
A little lately, and I'm not saying that Wolverine, that Deadpool and Wolverine is gonna save Marvel, but maybe, just maybe, they might right the ship.
It could. Well, there's a lot going on in the movie that can help that out. A lot of
So I'm hoping Marvel sees this and goes, "Oh, that's what they want to see."
Yeah.
That's what our audience actually wants to see. So we should probably give them more of that. That's my hope. I don't know if that will happen. Yeah. But I'm really glad you enjoyed the movie.
I did.
Tons and tons of cameos. You and I were talking before the show.
Tons of cameos. A lot of inside humor that most of your MCU fans will know. Will understand. If you're not, you're going to be lost. But there's so much. And of course, again, there was so much I missed because, Ryan Reynolds a lot of it, I'm sure a ton of it too is just off the cuff. So really good stuff. Yeah. So anyway, if you folks have not seen Wolverine, even though the show was about Dr. Doom and our good friend Tony Stark, who was played by Robert Downey Jr., just be warned, we're going to talk a little bit about Deadpool and Wolverine. So this is kind of a spoiler alert. We haven't seen that in a while
since I've heard of a spoiler alert.
Yeah, and so go ahead.
I was going to say, in other nerdy news, the Joker, Folie à Dieu, the Duet of Fools or something like that. Pair of Fools. I'm not sure what it is, but the new Joker movie, it's going to be rated R. And if I'm correct, and I need to double check this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Previous to Deadpool and Wolverine, the first Joker movie was the highest rated R movie.
Okay, I didn't know
as
that.
I recall.
Okay.
Yes. I'm pretty sure it was the most recent highest rated R movie, earning wise. And so it's possible that we could see this movie come back, and it's got a shot to at least give Deadpool and Wolverine a run for its money.
True.
Since it did so well the first time. But we'll have to see. They dropped a new trailer recently. It looks really good. It's very reminiscent of the first Joker movie, look-wise. A lot of people are saying they wrote it up as it's supposed to be a musical. So we'll have to see how exactly they do that part. But it just a quick look at the trailer. A lot of the comic storylines and the animated series storyline, Harley Quinn was a worker at the asylum where Joker was. Now, looking at the trailer, just a quick glance at the trailer, I'm not sure that this is going to be the same Harley Quinn. I'm not sure if she's going to be a psychiatrist at the asylum this time.
Yeah.
I'm a little, it's not for sure, but I think it's going to be a little different character. So we'll have to watch and see that. If you haven't seen the trailer yet, you need to go check it out. It looks great. And that movie is releasing October 4th. So not very far away. In other news, going to go back to Marvel real quick. You've heard of the new Fantastic Four movie that's coming.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they're really selling it on this 60s stylistic setting. So this
Yeah.
is not going to be modern Marvel. It's going to be a throwback to when the Fantastic Four came out in the comics.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
Originally.
almost like a feeling of the Jetson. It's supposed to be a 60 futuristic. It's almost, for what I was
Yes.
reading an article, like it feels like an alternate universe or another timeline. From my understanding, I was reading a little bit about this, and it's almost like kind of a Jetsons kind of feel. Has a 50s 60s kind of feel, but still with all the tech and future type of elements in it.
And so somebody on Twitter called Marvel Updates. They are not an official Marvel account.
Okay.
Dropped a photo, actually dropped a video, and this is a screenshot of the video, showing Ben Grimm in costume. And it appears that he's going to be a rubber costume Ben Grimm and not a CGI Ben Grimm. And
Interesting.
now, is it possible that this is just a temporary stand-in that's going to get, redone? Or if this is really what he's going to look like the whole time? Doesn't look horrible.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't look amazing to me, but obviously with the costumer makeup person holding on to the neck, it does appear that it's like a rubberized mask. I don't know how the mouth is going to work on that. Maybe the mouth will be CGI and the rest will be practical. We'll have to wait and see. But size wise and look wise, that is a pretty interesting look for what they're talking about, that retro 60s kind of idea.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
The only other nerdy news I have is there is an actress that claims she is going to be in the upcoming The Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
Interesting.
Uh, uh,
Okay.
a pretty popular sci-fi.
See, and I thought
Never
okay.
been in. That's never been in a Star Wars show yet.
Have not been a Star Wars fan yet. I mean, Star Wars. Was she in Firefly?
No.
No. Okay. No, because that lady was actually in. Okay, never mind. She was in Marvel also.
So 2 weeks ago, a
Uh-huh.
new a new sequel from her film. She's not in that one, I don't think. But the sci-fi series that she is in just had a new movie recently.
Not Sigourney Weaver. No.
That is, yes.
No.
That is Sigourney Weaver says
I
she
was
will
afraid.
have a part in the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
Okay.
She doesn't say what it is, but she says she has a part.
Okay.
And recently she got to finally meet Grogu.
Okay.
So I I don't know what to say about that.
I don't know either. I
that
don't
that
either.
surprised me. I thought that's interesting.
I mean, at least make her a
She's a great
badass.
actress.
Yeah, make her a
Yeah,
badass.
great actress.
Make her like a alien killer or something. Make her a bounty hunter.
Yeah, if she doesn't at least have a good, strong character,
Yeah.
even if it's just a cameo, even if she's not on there long,
Yeah.
if she doesn't have a good, strong character, I think it's a waste of Sigourney
Yeah,
Weaver.
that's what I mean. It's a waste of talent if they do that. So hopefully she's not some kind of dignitary or something like that. She has something that she's,
Yeah,
that's my afraid
we
that
don't need another Mon Mothma.
no, we don't.
But so anyway, but she's supposed to be in the movie. We'll
It's
have
that
to. It'll
wow.
That's a ways off, but I'm interested to see how they play her into the movie.
Well, that was a guess. Well, I mean, the movie because the movie you're referring to is Romulus, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Which is also a rated R
Yeah.
sci-fi movie, and it just came out recently, and
Hmm.
seems to be doing fairly well. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's going to get into profit. It depends on how much they spent originally.
Yeah.
But I have not seen it yet. But
Yeah.
everything I hear about it says it's going back to the horror in space
Yeah.
feel of the
Okay.
original Alien movie.
Okay.
And I think if they did do that, that is the right decision.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is not contingents of anything they've done prior. This falls in line with the original Aliens, the storyline, I'm assuming.
I'm not sure where it
Or
falls
is
in line in the
okay.
story. I don't know if it's a prequel or
Yeah.
a sequel. I don't know exactly where that falls in.
Okay.
But
Okay.
at the very least, it has that feel.
That feel.
You know
Okay.
how Alien, the first movie, felt like a horror movie set in space, and
Yeah.
then Aliens was more like a action movie set in
Yeah.
space.
Yeah. Exactly.
So this is going more to that horror movie set in space idea.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there was like Prometheus that was more like, I don't know, cerebral sci-fi kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Gotcha.
and then there was, Aliens 3 that we don't talk about.
No. No, we don't talk about that.
The dog alien. That's such a weird movie. I didn't care for that. Well, that is all the nerdy news I have, my friend. Do
Okay,
you
man.
have anything else?
I don't. Nothing on hand. There's a lot of stuff coming up. Skeleton Crew is supposed to be coming up here pretty
Yep.
soon with Star Wars. We saw the trailer of the new Captain America,
Yes.
Brave New World. Is that?
Yep.
Yes,
I believe that's still the title.
I think so. Harrison Ford. We
Oh,
got a little more of Harrison Ford.
Agatha. Agatha is coming up soon. The Disney Plus show.
Yeah.
And it got another new name.
You know what? Yes, right. Yeah.
Now it's Agatha all along.
Agatha all along. Boy, we really, man.
That poor show's been through more names.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Well, that's all I have. So that's all we have on some nerdy news. Hey.
And that's all for the nerdy happenings of the week.
That's a lot. We could do a whole show on nerdy news because there's so much going on.
Yeah, there is a lot going on.
But I think it's because we slept through most of it this past year. So we're still now coming up from underneath the rock and we see the light.
Yep. So if you're watching right now and you
Yes.
think these guys feel a little rusty, yes, the answer is yes.
Mhm.
we're a little slow on
Mhm.
the trigger. We're a little
Yeah,
uh
yeah, that's okay. That's okay. And this the next segment will be just as rusty as this past one we did. I think we'll get
so
into
so
some.
you have
Yeah,
some stupid
I
news?
do have some weird and stupid news. Let's not forget the weird.
Yes, weird and stupid news. It's the weird and stupid news with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
This is
I
kind of on
almost
the.
I almost
I
forgot
know.
that I have to say that one
I
because
was
the other one's
watching. I was
recorded.
watching down there, and I thought he know that we did not pre-tape the audio on that. I hope. I mean, let's find out. If you missed it, he missed it. It's closed captioned, hopefully. So anyway, this piece of news is not so much stupid at the same time weird and kind of interesting too, as far as the future goes. But I thought this was interesting. It's a startup company aims to deliver sunlight after dark.
Oh, oh, okay.
Yes, the
Wait, sunlight after you
yeah,
mean lights?
yes.
Like I've got I have light bulbs. I mean,
Light bulbs. Exactly. You have light bulbs. Yeah, they have a different way of doing this, and
okay.
I'm sure nothing can go bad in this. But of course, the sun sets, and
Yes,
falls,
yes.
sooner or later on all of this. But a startup company wants to change that. A California-based company called Reflect Orbitals, have developed a way to sell sunlight after dark. This California based startup is working on a groundbreaking way to provide sunlight even after the sun sets. That's right. The company is developing space mirrors. That's right.
This is a Dr. Evil setup.
I know it. Exactly.
What?
I know.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I do too. I do too. And yes, so the company is developing space mirrors that can reflect sunlight onto a solar panel at night, boosting the energy production of maybe solar farms. Maybe. Reflect
Okay.
Orbital's CEO Ben Norak believes that sunlight is the new oil and that space can support future energy infrastructure. Interesting. By reflecting
Okay.
sunlight from space to to a specific location on Earth, the company aims to extend solar power generation beyond daylight hours. Can you imagine? Solar energy currently accounts for about 5.6% of electricity, generated
Yes.
here in the US. And the startup company believes it can significantly increase this percentage with a network of low orbiting reflector satellites. Now, I hope they don't mess with my Starlink. That's the first thing I thought of. I thought, that's it. That's it. Low orbiting.
I'm just thinking, I got a neighbor that annoys me
I know.
and I could just buy them some sunlight to come
Oh,
on right about midnight and just stay there all night.
it's funny that you mentioned that because this next comment, the company also is going to offer the public a chance to book a spot of light with sunlight after dark, available for 4 minutes over 5 kilometer diameter starting late 2025. So you could actually say, I would like this light to be on this latitude, this longitude, shine. And then your neighbor the whole time won't sleep at night. It's just,
Oh, I actually, before I thought of the neighbor, I thought, man, what about those evening football games?
I
You just
know.
light up the stadium and you don't have to
Right.
turn on the lights, save lots of money.
But what I think of is like, as a kid, and I would never do that. But you know how you put a magnifying glass on an ant and the sun's coming down? That's what that's what I'm concerned about. That's
Oh
what
my
I'm
goodness.
talking about. That's the thing that I'm worried. So,
But can it
uh,
follow me around? Like,
well, I
you
don't.
know, like I have to go out at night and I have to
Yeah,
walk from from
yeah.
this scary building to my car that's,
I don't
a
know.
half mile away. I
That's
just want the
interesting.
sunlight to follow me so I feel better about it.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that could be possible. I mean, like you got to have like
You
an
know, my daughter doesn't like driving at night.
put
It
an
could
air
just
tag on
follow
her or
her
something.
the
An
whole
Apple
time.
air tag or something. Maybe they have their own air tags, and they'll follow you wherever you go. You know, bumping into other satellites
Oh my
trying to get to
gosh.
you. I don't know, but that that's actually in the works. So we'll see what happens there. But on other news, on this story, a Michigan man apparently he joined a court Zoom call for a case involving driving with a suspended license. Well,
Okay.
the judge immediately asked. Um, well, the judge immediately asked. We'll probably have to cut this out because I'm trying to get to what I thought I had on here, but I don't have it on here, and that's what we call stupid news, not being rusty, being okay, there we go. Anyway, I'm going to cut back to that. A man in Michigan, a Michigan man,
Okay.
joined a court Zoom call for a case
Okay.
involving driving with a suspended license.
Okay. Well, he got a suspended license, can't drive, so it makes sense that he'd do a Zoom call because he wouldn't be able to get to the courthouse real easily.
And that's true. That's true. But the judge immediately asked him. Immediately asked and pointed question. Are you driving?
For those who
Harrison.
didn't, for those who are listening to the podcast, there is a picture of the judge in his chambers, and I don't know who the woman is, if she's the prosecutor or
She's actually
lawyer,
the public defender.
the public defender standing in the courtroom,
Yes.
and the gentleman in question obviously in his car.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my
Yes, the
goodness.
judge immediately asked during the Zoom and pointed a very pointed question. He said, "Are you driving?" Harris, seemingly unaware of the irony, responded, "Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, so just give me a second as I'm trying to park the car right now." Of course, there was a video from the court session that captured the moment when the public defender appeared both disappointed and bewildered, much like the judge reported by local news. The assistant public defender, Natal Tate, quickly requested a 4-week adjournment of the case, saying if the court would allow. Well, if the court would allow. However, District Judge J. Cedric Simpson was not inclined to grant that request.
Imagine that.
Yes, he said, "Okay, so maybe I don't understand something." He said, "This is a driving while license suspended case, and he was just driving, and he didn't have a license."
So he hadn't gone to the trouble of getting his license reinstated yet, but
No.
he was still driving.
Yes. From the response of the public defender, Tate confirmed, "Yes, this is correct, Your Honor." And that is stupid news.
This has been the Weird and Stupid News with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
That's insane. That's insane.
That's
The
funny.
things that people do. You never run out of stupid news.
You will never run out. out of stupid news ever.
So I forget, what are we talking about tonight?
Tonight at 11.
Doom!
Okay, you said it. Of course, Futurama is running right now. I forget
Oh,
what
yeah, it's
season
back.
it is on the Hulus.
Yep.
So, but tonight we're not talking about that. We're talking about Doom and the announcement that Robert Downey Jr. is cast as Doctor Doom, which shocked everyone at the recent. I think was it? I don't know. Was it Comic-Con? It was or a fan expo. He came out.
I can't remember.
Can't remember what it
Was it
yeah.
D23?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. But anyway, it doesn't matter. He announced, and there he is, and all his, Robert Downey Jr. glory. Basically, he takes the mask off, and there he is. And tonight we're going to talk about this interesting, casting choice. I have my, I was kind of all over the place, and I still kind of am. And I'm gonna have to pull from some of your MCU past comic book experience, Ricky, because
I will do my best.
I read a little bit about some of this stuff, and some of it's like, okay, boy, there's a lot of good thing there's a multi-universe, because this is the only way this can play off. So
I was gonna say that with Marvel leaning so hard into the multiverse,
yes,
there are any number of ways they could pull this off.
yes.
I'm not sure which direction they're going to go.
At face value, when I heard this, I thought, I love Robert Downey Jr., but he is Tony Stark. Why are we doing this? Are we desperate? Are we trying to, what are we trying to do here? Why couldn't we use like someone like Mickelson, right? Mickelson would have made a great Doctor Doom.
He would have made a great Doctor Doom. So
exactly.
should we, for those who are uninitiated, should we at least give a little background of who Doctor Doom traditionally is?
Let's do this. Yes. Take the helm, my friend.
Okay. So on the, the general idea here is, we have Victor Von Doom, and he is, the dictator of a small country. I believe it's called Latveria. And he becomes this bad guy in the Marvel universe that he has fought everybody. He has defeated everybody. He has done everything. I believe his first appearance was Fantastic Four #5, 1962. So we're talking one of the original bad guys. And traditionally, he has been a Fantastic Four villain. Now, that's not to say he hasn't fought everybody else, because he has. At some point in Marvel history, he has fought everybody. One of my favorite storylines is actually Secret Wars, the original, the 1980s Secret Wars.
Yes, yeah.
And Doom plays a huge part in that storyline.
Yeah.
And basically takes on godlike powers. At least temporarily. And then he loses them. But so he is a man in a metal suit, always wearing a green cloak, and because he is disfigured, so that's we talked about Deadpool earlier. Deadpool, he wears a mask, he's a very disfigured individual. Well, the same thing here. Now, in some storylines, Victor Von Doom was, friends with Reed Richards, or college roommate of Reed Richards, or, various different.
Yeah, he was
things.
just depending on the different ones. One I remember where he was a wealthy man with research, and he finance Reed Richards, some of his projects and
Mhm.
stuff. Yeah. So anyway,
And and character wise,
yeah,
and a lot of people may not realize this part of Doctor
yeah,
Doom. Character wise, he is highly scientific,
yeah,
but is also very involved with magic and the demonic realm kind of
gotcha, yeah,
ideas.
yeah,
So he can fall um into the Doctor Strange area really easily
easily,
if they
yeah,
decide to go there.
gotcha,
Now, I don't know if they will. Marvel magic, quote unquote magic for Marvel
yeah,
gets kind of weird. Because in the comics, it blends, it goes back and forth.
yeah,
Um,
exactly,
in the MCU, it's kind of been separated quite a bit.
yeah,
You've got the science, super scientific, and then you've got Doctor Strange, and you've got the Scarlet Witch, which kind of go into the Avengers,
yeah,
but when they're in the Avengers, the whole magic thing's kind of downplayed a little bit. But
yeah,
then when
okay,
we get their own shows, the mysticism and magic is big part of their
yeah,
persona.
yeah,
With Doctor Doom, it's really a blend in the comics, quite a
yeah.
bit. So I don't know if that will be part of how we play this.
Well, and that the question, and I think that's a pretty good introduction of Doctor Doom. I know that you and me were hoping, because the whole with the Kang Dynasty theme finally is put to
Mhm.
rest. Me and you for a long
Yeah,
time we were talking about, why not Doctor Doom? He's the biggest baddie. We had
he
Thanos, and
he's a
so
great bad guy. He's the right bad guy if
yes,
you
he
want to
is.
do Secret Wars.
Yeah,
Whether you do the original Secret Wars,
yeah,
then the '80s Secret Wars, or the
yeah,
Secret Wars, the later Secret Wars, not
yeah,
Secret Wars 2, because that's a whole different monster.
yeah.
But the later Secret Wars, which would have been late '90s, early 2000s,
I
I
think so.
think,
Yeah, I think it was early two
something like
thousands.
that. Because
Yeah,
that one had a lot more to do with, um, the Captain Marvel and all those characters, which fits better with what the MCU is right now, anyway.
yeah,
Um, but there's just so many different ways that we could go here.
yeah.
Now, this idea of Tony Stark being Doom isn't unheard of in the comics.
Okay, I read a little bit on that, and that's what I wanted to ask you. Kind
Okay,
of give me a
what
little bit of
what have
background
you
on
heard?
this.
What have you read? Because I've
I
read a
read a
couple
li-
different things. This
I
is
read
and
one where
all of
he,
these happened after the fact, that after I had really gotten out of
yeah,
comics very much.
I heard something about there was various storylines that depict Tony Stark and Doom working together or having shared goals. Uh, they Doom taking Doctor Doom or Victor taking the mantle of Iron Man there for
Hmm.
a while. But those are the kind of things I didn't get into deep detail of, but I was just trying to see if there was, because sometimes where is there a connection there? Is there something where is this going to be an alternate universe? Tony Stark becoming Doctor Doom, which can easily be that from what we've been seeing in the Marvel movies and recently Deadpool versus Wolverine, even though it's definitely a buddy road comedy type of deal.
Yeah,
A lot happens throughout, which you brings in a lot of previous actors playing characters that they didn't play before in
right.
alternate universes, and it almost feels like they're setting it up to get us used to that. And so it could possibly be Tony Stark in an alternate universe who is the doctor, who is the one who become Doctor Doom. And the question that I have in this is, well, I'm getting ahead of myself because I don't want to get ahead of what you
Well,
heard. So go ahead.
I was gonna say, I am aware of two stories,
Yeah.
and and when I say aware, it's vaguely aware.
Yeah.
Like
This is,
I never read these comics,
yeah.
so please correct us in the comments
Yeah.
if you know more or if you've read them. So I'm aware of two situations.
Uh huh.
One time, it was basically Victor Von Doom and Tony almost switching bodies.
Okay.
So you really had Doom in Tony's body, and
Okay.
being this, Doctor Doom, Iron Man kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and then there's another one where Tony basically defeats Victor Von Doom
Yeah.
and kind of takes on his mantle on top of being Iron Man.
Yeah.
So that's a couple of different storylines. I feel like neither of those work well
I
because
don't think
both
so.
of them require Doctor Doom to be somebody first.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
just from what I'm seeing from the presentation they made,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like that's where we're going to go.
No,
I
and
think we're more likely to have a alternate universe Tony Stark where Tony Stark never became Iron Man
Iron Man, and
and
I can see
rather
that.
became Doctor Doom.
And I can see that. And that's kind of what I was thinking. And I don't know. Be interesting if the mainstream who comes in can hang on that or not. You know,
Yeah.
that's the thing. But one thing I was thinking, of course, Fantastic Four. You know, it's the movie Fantastic
Mhm.
Four: First Step, and I think that's the title.
Yeah.
And from the description, it's kind of a retro futuristic 1960s. It's almost feeling like the
Yes.
Jetsons. That's what I was reading.
Yes.
Now, the question is Robert Downey Jr. Doom going to show up in Fantastic Four? And if so, is it going to take the same storyline? And I know some people don't like it, but the 90s version of the Fantastic Four, you know, where it sets it up, where, you know, that Doctor Doom, before he became Doctor Doom, he was the the wealthy man who, who was scientific and did
Mhm.
scientific projects, and went to school with Reed Richards. They were friends, and so you
Yeah.
remember the '90s of that. So
Yep.
that's one storyline that they could go. So does that mean you actually see Tony Stark without the mask? Or do you see, or is it going to be Tony Stark with the mask right off the bat? And which one, in your opinion, would work better?
Well, okay. So from what I know, what I've read
Yeah.
about the the Fantastic Four movie, Silver Surfer is going to be a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Silver Surfer generally means Galactus.
Okay. That's, yeah.
So that doesn't really fit with Victor Von Doom even being in the movie. Like
Okay.
it doesn't with those two big characters.
So
I
that's,
don't
yeah,
see I don't see a good place for Doom to be.
to be in that. Okay.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean they can't pull it off, but I don't see how that works. Um
Unless they do at the, like an end, like a
I was going
post
to say
credit
now
or
an
something.
end
Yeah.
credit,
End
yeah,
credit. I mean,
post
yeah.
credit scene. Um Maybe they bring a 1960s Tony Stark back with them because see that's another thing with this Fantastic Four movie. A lot of people are like, well, how is this going to fit in with the MCU to bring these characters into the future movies.
Yeah.
Well, the only way to really have that is to have some kind of time travel situation
Yeah.
where if they're made in the 60s, we get them into the current time frame.
Yeah.
Now we've seen time travel,
Yes.
so
It's
totally
yeah.
possible
Yeah.
that we get that. And if they bring Doom with them somehow, they bring a Tony Stark with them that becomes Doom. That could work. But I think he would have to be kind of a, a momentary character. He
Do you
would
think they're
not be
going
the
to?
focus of the movie.
Do you think they still will continue the underlying story of the TVA, because it was very much a part of Wolverine, of Deadpool and Wolverine? I mean, the TVA was involved in these different timelines, and
Yeah.
throughout, and like I said, we'll do a special just on Deadpool and Wolverine. I would like to do one on that because there's so many great lines in that movie. But in that, there were constant variation of superheroes and people playing superheroes,
Yeah.
and some of them, you know, Deadpool going into these different timelines. Of course, Deadpool is, is breaking down the third wall. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
the but some of this stuff does it. Some of the stuff does. Its stewardship is the TVA. So I doubt if we'll hear anything about the TVA. Maybe it might be bits and pieces of information. I think as far as the Fantastic Four concerned, I think it's going to be more about them in that time period, and if it's going to
Mm.
be, and then I think maybe again Doctor Doom may come at like a post credit or something like that,
Yeah.
or I don't know
Yeah.
how are you going to do
The
this, because they've really have because up to this point I felt like Marvel has backed themselves up against the wall, but now they have this whole multiverse TVA thing, and so the Loki series kind of started something brand new, which was meant to be the Kang
the
Dynasty,
Kang Dynasty, but we're
but
not going to see that.
but somehow now it has evolved to Doctor Doom, and
Yeah,
so
see, that's part of my problem with keeping the TVA around long term.
yeah,
TVA was very involved with Kang.
yes,
It was almost inseparable. So you just have to just decide to ignore all that.
which
And
they
I,
were
that
very which they were very involved in Deadpool and Wolverine, but at the same time, I think when they were doing that, they still had the Kang Dynasty in
Kang
mind.
was still a possible when they were writing
Yeah.
it.
So
But I mean, in the but Kang's not really a part of the Deadpool Wolverine movie.
no, it's the only
So
thing,
they
only
just kind of
relationship.
ignore that even exists as a
Yeah.
thing.
Yes.
So, I mean, Marvel can do that. They can just choose to ignore it and
Yeah.
move on. And so the TVA could be involved. Um, I, I'm, this is one of those things where it's like they revealed this. It was a big reveal at a
It
presentation,
was Comic
and
Con,
it's
actually, San
yeah, it
Diego
was
Comic
Comic Con.
Con.
Yeah,
So
San
yeah.
Diego Comic Con. They make this huge announcement. Yay, it's really cool. How
Hmm.
much cooler would it have been if you didn't tell us
Oh yeah, and you
and
found
you
it in the,
didn't know until he showed up on screen
and
in a
that's what I wish,
post-credit scene?
and that's what they should have done.
I think that's what they should have done, but I think Marvel is struggling
They're
so
struggling.
much
They needed
that
it.
they needed the boost.
Yeah, they
Now,
needed it.
I think the worst thing they could do is have a bunch of variants of Doctor Doom, and one of them is Tony, and it's a cameo, and that's all it ever was. I think that will be a huge mistake.
That can
I think that will
happen.
be it could totally
That could
happen,
totally happen. I didn't
but
think about that.
it would feel like a big rug pull
It would feel like a
after
betrayal for a
making
lot of
a
people after,
huge
yeah,
yep, after making this huge announcement that Robert Downey Jr.'s
mm,
Tony Stark is going to be Doom. It would
yeah,
feel like a big rug pull
yeah, it would be.
if it was just a bit part.
Well, it'd be
Um,
yeah, it'd be a switch and bait, and that's going to make that
yeah.
put a bad taste in the fans' mouth, and would be mine too.
Now, on the other hand, I will also be really disappointed if we get a Doctor Doom, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. that hardly ever wears a mask.
Yeah, see, that would be. I know
I
because
because
I
then
can't.
it won't feel like Doom.
It'll take you out of it. See, that's the problem when they announced it. Because I'm thinking it's going to take me out of it. And the whole time you're rooting, hoping that Tony Stark becomes Iron Man. You know that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
And so and so it goes back to how will that affect the box office when it comes to the mainstream audience? Because wait a
it's
minute,
going
this
to be
he's
really, really confusing
yeah,
for those who are not really into the backstory,
yeah,
how all this came to be.
yeah,
It's going to. It, I'm not going to be disappointed
yeah,
because I'm into it and I know all
yeah,
these backstories and
yeah,
I take time to read all these things. But
yeah.
you're right. For the casual Marvel fan,
No,
for the $1 billion movie Marvel fan,
yeah,
it's going to be hard to follow.
yeah,
And it's going to be two movies.
yeah,
I mean, there are two upcoming Avengers movies.
yeah.
I'm a little confused as to how intertwined they are both going to be.
Well, yeah. I mean,
If
you
it's
look
going
at
to be,
yeah,
is it really? Because one's now called Doomsday, and one is now. Is it still Secret Wars, or
I
is
don't
it
know.
not named now?
Well, and then you
I'm
have
a,
yeah, and you wonder how this all falls into the place of the new Captain America movie, which seems pretty much all. If you would call it a timeline, it would be like maybe our timeline. And if that makes any sense, it seems like if you
yeah,
had to put a timeline on it. And so how's because that Cap, the new Cap, Mackie
yeah.
Cap, you know, how is that going to fall into play with all of that? And so is it? I don't know. Because that timeline that we're talking about, they don't have a clue what's going on. They don't know anything about the TVA. They don't know anything about multi universes, as far as I know. I don't know.
Uh, yeah, I'm a little.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
I'm
they
not
know the
sure who
blip.
all
And
knows.
yeah. So it just seems like there's a lot happening, and it makes me wonder how much of this is disjointed from what their plans were before into what's happening now, and how they're going to.
Yeah, I almost feel like, honestly, here's what I wish they would do.
Yeah.
I wish they would just go, okay, phase two's, or what is, I wish they would just go, okay, we're done. We're done with this phase, with this.
Yeah.
We're going to start over a new phase one now.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a phase two, and then we'll have a phase three. And the phase three will be the big blockbuster, bring them all together.
Yeah.
But to do that, you need like 6 or 7 or 8 years. But these two big movies
Yeah.
are coming out in 2026 and 2027.
There's not a whole lot you can do between that time.
No,
I mean,
there's
you
not
can't
enough time
in
to.
2025 to make that happen. The end of 2024, the end of 2025, because what's coming up on? I mean, what do we got going except for Disney shows? I mean, Disney
Well,
Plus, Marvel.
we've got Brave New World
Okay, that's
that's
coming
coming up.
out.
We have Thunderbolts that is go. That one's happening.
Let's go. Now,
Um,
is that still gonna be a series on Disney Plus? Or is that going to be a movie?
no, I think that's going to be I believe that's a movie.
I would hope so,
Um,
because at first they made
there,
it sound like it was a series on Disney Plus, but hopefully,
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a movie.
okay,
According to this, it is a movie. Right now, it's scheduled for May 2025,
okay,
and then we have Fantastic Four, which I believe is either going to be late 2025 or early 2026.
okay,
That should be a big enough movie. It should be. No, this is saying July 2025. So that's two back to back.
okay.
Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. But I bet Thunderbolts is going to be a small movie overall.
Yeah,
Um, the nerd boys like me are going to be excited about it, but um, that one's not going to be a broad audience, I don't think. Blade is possibly canceled, at least delayed, at least on hold, from what I'm hearing from several different locations. Then we've got Doomsday 2026, and this reporting says Secret Wars 2027.
okay.
So I man, that's tight.
That's really tight. I don't know. I mean, you know, after assimilating all of this, after digesting it, what is your gut reaction to Robert Downey Jr. taking the role of Doom?
I'm not excited about it.
Okay.
I know that sounds, for those who are excited about it, I'm happy you're excited
Yeah.
about it. I'm excited we're getting a Doom.
Yes.
I have wanted Doom for a long time. I don't know if you remember this. Back when we were doing the show all the time and regularly, I
Mm-hmm.
had this whole thing on how you could get the Fantastic Four in and get
Mm-hmm.
the X-Men in, and it was all because of Doctor Doom. And it was Doom fighting Wakanda, which could still happen, but Doom versus Wakanda, which
Yeah.
we could get Aurora to show up to bring us the X-Men in, because she was you know her people thought she was a African goddess. um then since it's Doom, you can bring the Fantastic Four in. um it would be a good fit.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll get any of that, but I would love to see it happen. um but I've wanted Doom for a long time. I've wanted a good Doom.
Yeah.
Fox had a Fantastic Four movie with a Doom that was okay. Wasn't amazing. It wasn't great.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't what people were hoping for.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, I'm excited we're getting a Doom. I'm a little disappointed that it's Tony Stark. Um, I'll almost be more excited if Tony Stark ends up being a cameo and we get somebody like Mickelson to play Doom, a
Yeah. That's
real
kind of.
Doom.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think there will be a revolt if that happens.
Yeah.
I think there will be a fanboy revolt if it happens, but I almost would prefer it.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
But I don't know that I thought it was cool. I would love to see Robert Downey Jr. back in the MCU somehow.
I just don't
I
want to
just
see him. I don't want to see him that way. I mean, I would rather him just come back from the dead as Iron Man, to be honest
yeah,
with you. And I mean,
yeah.
if we're gonna go that route, that's
Or even back from the dead, not as Iron Man because he just can't do that anymore.
yeah,
And he's, you know, he's the scientific advisor to the Avengers. You
yeah. I
know,
mean
he's
that
the
and that,
benefactor for the
yeah,
Avengers.
yeah.
But yeah, I just don't know if I'm. How do you feel about it?
Um, I mean, honestly, if you ask me, I really would have liked to seen this man,
Yep.
Lars Mikkelsen.
Yep.
Lars Mikkelsen, who is playing Thrawn right now,
Yes.
because he just has that. He plays a great villain,
Yep.
very kind of a really classy, intelligent,
Oh yeah.
strategic type of character. So I wanted to see that. I think I'm not happy with the choice because I feel like I'm concerned that it's become a money grab trying to save MCU, and we need to pick good actors, not Robert Downey Jr. great actor, but we need to pick actors that fit the part. And
that can be the guy going forward.
yes,
Now, this is a problem I have had with every superhero movie going back to Batman
stop
1989.
killing off the villains, the good
Stop
villains.
killing off the good villains. Exactly. That I that pushes against comics completely.
Yeah, it is.
You defeat the villain, but he gets away to fight again
Yeah,
later.
yeah. Keep them.
And
Yeah,
yeah, so this idea of we're going to obliterate the villain
yeah,
is annoys me. It's one of the few things of all the things that people dislike about the Marvel and Disney. Killing off the villains is the one thing that bugs me more than anything
yeah,
else. It's like you can have a bad show. It's a bad show. They got a bad writer.
yeah,
Somebody liked it. I didn't like
yeah,
it. You didn't like it. This
yeah.
other guy liked it. It's great. But quit killing off the bad guys.
Exactly. It's like they want to put a tidy bow on it and just say, okay, we're done with that. Instead of maybe, making that a possibility in the future, which is, I
Yes.
always think is a safe bet, especially when you have a great villain.
Yes.
And Doom is one of those
Somebody
characters.
like Doom. Exactly.
Yeah.
See, like they killed off Thanos.
Yes.
I think that's kind of a miss.
I think so too.
Because when now you have obliterated him, yeah, technically we could bring him back through the multiverse.
But that
But
gets old after a while.
if you had defeated him and
Yes.
driven him back to Titan, he could be planning and scheming to come back again. And you don't have to do Infinity Gauntlet.
No, you don't have to.
There's plenty of Thanos stories you could tell.
Yes, it could. You totally do away with the gauntlet. Okay, you destroyed it, and he doesn't have that power anymore through the gauntlet, but he is
But
still there. He's still somewhere in the. Yeah, he's out there brooding, planning. And you have that character to bring back. Don't. It's not supposed to be a soap opera where you can use the multiverse just to bring. Okay, we like him again. Let's bring him on back. And that's what I don't like about. Like I said, I love Robert Downey Jr. I love Tony Stark, and I would rather. I would wish. I would rather them bring him back somehow. He comes back.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch, something. Bring him back somehow, if you
Yeah.
know, or from an alternate universe, Tony Stark, who is learning about the other Tony Stark. I don't know, but
Well,
this I don't know.
you wouldn't get Robert Downey Jr., but there was an option, and this gets really weird, and
Yeah.
this is wrapped up into Kang, and it gets
Uh,
really convoluted. But there is a young Tony Stark in the comics
yes.
that does come back from you know, from some alternate universe,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
is Iron
Art.
Lad,
Okay.
which fits in with the Young Avengers, which I really thought they were going to do, but now all their Young Avengers are old, so
Yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah.
work anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have them
It's
anymore.
yeah, it's too late. They're not kids anymore.
No, they're not.
Um, I don't. So that one's that's past. That's not going to happen now. But so Iron Lad was an option for bringing an Iron Man back and calling him Tony Stark, but you wouldn't have a Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, you wouldn't have
You
it.
would have to
No.
cast someone else.
Yeah.
Now that could be if you had a living Tony Stark, that could be a fun mentor mentee situation
Yeah.
where Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark is teaching young alternate universe Tony Stark how to be Iron Man.
Yeah.
But Robert Downey Jr. never puts on the
Puts on
armor.
the armor back, the
He
suit. Yeah.
Yeah, he just is, he's the Batman from Batman Beyond.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. Yeah,
that
exactly. He's
kind of
the
storyline.
mentor. He's the
Yeah.
billionaire. He's the yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that could have been a really cool story to have an older Tony Stark
Yeah.
still around. But I don't see that. I don't think we'll get anything like
I don't
that.
think so. I'm just concerned about the direction it's going as far as it comes to Robert Downey Jr. playing it. I hope I'm totally wrong. I hope they because I love MCU. I want to see it succeed. I just they just seem like they've been missing the mark here lately, and I don't want them to try to grab for this grab for the cash in desperation. And I think that's my concern.
Yeah. Well, and rushing it.
Yeah,
That
because
was the issue with DC.
yeah.
DC rushed it.
Oh yes, they did.
They tried to they saw what the MCU was doing, and they tried to do it faster.
Yeah, you needed a
And
solo Batman. You needed as well as a solo Superman, which they did. You need a
yes,
solo, but they were in a hurry.
yeah, they were in too much of a hurry.
Yeah,
They tried to build it up too fast, get them all together too fast.
yeah,
Um, so that's my concern here is that we have to get the band back together,
yeah,
but now we have to do it too fast.
yeah,
Because what you really need is if you're going to do a true Secret Wars where we have some Beyonder, which was kind of the
hmm
Secret Wars thing,
yeah,
and the idea behind the original 1980s Secret Wars was
hmm
um, Doom basically snuck in and stole the Beyonder's powers while nobody was looking. And, so now you've got this Doctor Doom who's godlike,
hmm
and they have to get it. They have to figure out, how do we defeat this new Doom?
yeah,
Um, so, but I'm just, afraid they're going to kill him off. Whatever they do with Doom, I'm afraid Doomsday, they're going to kill off Doom, and then Secret Wars is just going to be some other thing.
Yeah,
that they
because,
come up with.
and I think they're going to, yeah, and then you think about it, because if Robert Downey Jr., he's playing Doom, how long does Robert Downey Jr. wants to play Doom? I mean, it's like,
I don't know, as long as they cash the checks.
I guess so. I guess so.
I mean, you pay people enough money, they'll do anything. But
that's true. That's true.
Harrison
Kinda
Ford,
like Harrison Ford. I won't come back as Han Solo.
Speaking of Harrison Ford, did you see him? The wasn't there a clip for Thunderbolts that showed Harrison Ford?
I didn't see the Thunderbolt one. I've seen the one for the Brave New World.
Brave New World. That's right. Brave New World. Sorry, I was just thinking he should be in Thunderbolts as well.
Yeah,
because traditionally,
there was a comment in the trailer about his mustache. Why he didn't have his mustache, and the comment was, they said they told me I wouldn't get elected, and so I thought that was interesting. That was how they kind of wrote that off, right? Like it needed to be explained or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Why does he not have a mustache? I don't know. Why does he look like a whole different person?
Yes, that's what I want to know. Exactly.
I guess if we can just, throw a new actor in and say he's the same person.
Yeah,
you can just throw Robert Downey Jr. in and say he's a whole different person.
Why not? Well, yeah. So, folks, if I don't know, folks, tell us what you think. Put it in the comments. You can check us out on YouTube, but we have a YouTube, Facebook, also on the Instagrams. But you can catch our videos, all our videos and podcasts and audio, good stuff on speakingnerdy.com. And that's where you can pick up all our stuff, our YouTube channel, YouTube/speakingnerdy. Same thing with Facebook, so you can check us out. We're kind of getting some steam back again, getting moving in the same direction again.
Mike has solid internet, so
don't say that too loud, please, because I'm afraid that those guys from the orbital whatever with their solar panels may be over my house. So I don't.
I'm going to buy you some sunlight.
Buy me some sunlight. Oh man. But yes, tell us what you think about Doom, and also to tell us what you're looking forward to this coming up, and anything that you would like for us to talk about in the future. I don't have anything else, my friend. I think I doomed it all out.
I think we're doomed.
I think we're doomed. Hopefully MCU isn't doomed.
This has been the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Shilley.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe.
Tonight at 11.
Doom! The minute we decided to talk about Doom, I was like, we are going to use that so much.
Like children.
We are 12-year-old boys, aren't we?
That's right.